Hello, dear friends. The most difficult equation to understand in this tiresome game is that things could get worse before they get better by rebound effect, because there is no day without the previous night. This doesn't sound very nice, but it's part of the cosmic laws. Opinion piece. On freefall. Crash alert. Chaos in September. The system is falling. Accelerated the timetable. Poofness explains the delay. The door is now open. Markets are in freefall. Watch out for the next 2 months. It could get worse before it gets better. You are winning and you don't even know it. News addiction causes stress. Could happen in a 3-day weekend. September and October would be important months. Solar storm knocks out a new satellite. China forgives debt of 17 African nations. Elon Musk warns of collapse of civilization. Emergency intervention in Europe's electricity market. Let's start. Crash alert by Big's Worry. Prepare now for September chaos. There is barely time left to prepare. The system is failing at every level, and the mother of all crashes has already been loaded into the computer programmers to be triggered on a specific day in the coming months. Be aware that things could get worse after 11th September. This is something humankind has never experienced, and no one knows how it will happen. Get your silver and gold to protect yourself. Poofness explains the delay through Susan. You all have had to wait because of the madness, the outpouring of false information and misdirected data. We were hoping for better conditions, but those come and go. Just when it seems to be finally coming together, we hear of another problem that someone has mentioned. It's crazy timing, and the universe is quite aware. Things and conditions will change, and patience is required. Cryon through Lee Carroll. You can make things worse before they get better in your reality. But if you see that, I challenge you this Christmas season. Can you stand up and say, "It is well with my soul"? If you can, that is courage. That's what soldiers do in battle. They armor themselves. They are scared and they are going to meet the enemy. And we told them there would be a battle between the old energy and the new energy. We told you that you are the warriors of this new energy and that you carry the light. Some of you are afraid now, and you are in this battle, and some of you don't understand it at all. The bottom line, you are winning, and you don't even know it. Specific dates. 3-day weekend by Dalboom. It has been said that important things will happen right after a 3-day weekend, as the clocks around the world will have the delay for the banks to synchronize and close at the same time. These are basically the only remaining US holidays. Monday, 5th September, Labor Day. Monday, October 10, Columbus Day. Friday, 11th November, Veterans Day. Monday, December 25, Christmas Day. But Christmas is celebrated around the world. It is still the last Monday of the year and too late for the EBS emergency broadcast system to be switched off, along with governments, and many businesses will be on holiday for a week, and in other countries banking will be closed. However, since Veterans Day is on a Friday in the US, it could be a last 3-day weekend this year, when a major event takes place along with only 3 days after election day. So, it is possible that EBS will be on November 8th, 9th and 10th, since the election wouldn't take place and EBS would be broadcast everywhere, and it would be better if it started on Friday. It was reported that the EBS happened on certain dates, but it never happened before. But it never happened because other delays came up or things just didn't happen that also need to be done. Reset news. The world economy is imploding and cannot sustain itself. The revaluation of money is set to begin at the right time. Once this revaluation begins, all countries will reissue new currencies backed by hard assets and precious metals. Once the central banks disappear, the first thing you know is that their debt claim would be null and void. There are two sides to the economy: the manipulated economy that has been manipulated for over 120 years, and the real economy that is what people feel every day. The end of private central banking will be the most remarkable news in history. The global financial system is collapsing, currencies are falling, and markets are decoupling. In due course, the whole system would collapse. News addiction. People who have an obsessive need to constantly check the news are more likely to suffer from stress, anxiety, and poor physical health, according to a new study published in the journal Health Communication. Solar storm knocks down new satellite. Intelsat, a multinational satellite service provider, reports that it lost control of one of its satellites, which is believed to have been rendered inoperable by space weather when it was hit by a geomagnetic solar storm. Since Friday, 19th August, Intelsat has been working to regain control of the Galaxy 15 news relay satellite after the solar storm destroyed the onboard electronics needed to communicate with the satellite, according to spacenews.com. Opinions. Fulford says that the decision to repatriate Vatican funds abroad is tantamount to getting rid of Rothschild banking. According to Max Thera, in quotes, the markets went into freefall after Powell's Jackson Hole talk. Every year, they meet at the very safe Rockefeller Ranch in Teton National Park. The economy is basically in shambles. The banks are undergoing a transition. Cash would not be available for a period of few days. This will begin as soon as the announcement period begins. Elon Musk warns of collapse of civilization if oil and gas are phased out. The transition to renewable and sustainable energy would take decades to complete, according to the entrepreneur Musk. Musk says it is still too early to move from an oil-gas-based energy model and a renewable energy model. The rapid transition, he said, would be a major problem for modern societies. The X22 report says that the economic agenda is crumbling and will fail, so people will want to hold accountable those who destroyed the economy. Information will be declassified when the time is right to avoid fake news. Stephen Van Metre believes that countries faced economic annihilation as their hard currencies are on the verge of collapse. A strong dollar has forced many marginal countries to reduce their reserves and go into debt to borrow reserves, just as the Fed is about to push the value of the dollar even higher. Peter Navarro says the tide is turning against them. The Union thinks morality for the sheep, but the truth is being exposed for the world to see. Jean Decode says they have looking glass type technology for decades to see the future, so they had already seen everything. The plan to save the world has been in place since 1963. It's precise, meticulous, divine, and genius. Steve Pisanik says this is a covert operation. They watermarked each slip of paper with a blockchain encryption code. They reversed the whole war game following Trump's rules in the Art of War. The Storm Rider says that in 2016, intelligence knew that the CCP had plans to change the outcome, and the plan was put in place to secretly keep and save the administration. The workings of the plan were handed over to Ezra Cohen Watnick. Samantha Alderson says that all travel is closed at the end of August for 3 days in the UK. There are no trains, buses or subways running. Charlie Watt says the election was annulled on 22nd June 2022 in a hidden document. September and October would be important months. We would get a confession. He reveals that 6 billion special phones are packaged and ready for distribution. McAfee developed this software program that could detect worms and bugs. It was designed to get them out of their programming. It got into every system through backdoors. Juan Osabin says that you don't expect is what's going to happen in the next 6 days, because they accelerated the timetable, and this is all going to be a very accelerated response. In this tit for tat moment, they are going to play all the cards they have. The only one they will not play this time is the ET card. They are saving that for bigger world operations. They have the option of faking a fake outside invasion. We are having the biggest battle in the history of the planet, and it is about which illusion is going to win. Europe. The European Union announces an emergency intervention to reform its electricity market. In some part of Germany, drought conditions are so bad that farmers expect to lose up to half of all their crops by autumn. The German state of Baden-Württemberg has been particularly hard hit, not only because of a lack of rain, but also because of a lack of energy and fertilizer. Explain Edan Huff. It is not only farmers who are suffering, but also livestock farmers. As pastures dry out, livestock keepers have to feed them with meager winter supplies. Under normal conditions, livestock throughout Germany would be eating pasture during this time of the year, but due to the drought, pastures are dying everywhere. As a result, farmers have to feed their livestock grain that must be saved for the winter, depleting supplies that are already short due to ongoing supply chain problems, and because many of the feed grains Germany relies on come from Ukraine or Russia, and sanctions are choking the economy. When farmers can't get the fertilizer products they need, they have to pay an exorbitant premium due to inflation. Because much of Europe has gone green, it no longer has the capacity to produce its own energy or its own fertilizers. When winter comes, there could be an energy shortage that could lead to civil unrest. Americas. The Azteca Stadium will be transformed for the 2026 World Cup, but not everyone in Mexico wants it. Radio is driving peace in Colombia's forgotten regions. Colombia and Venezuela resume relations. Caracas and Bogotá must resolve complex issues beyond trade, such as border security and the controversy over monomeros. Trips to Margarita Island are being sold in Russia with a direct flight from Moscow to Porlamar. Colombia's president considers the war on drugs a failure. 2 Colombians win silver medal in Chinese martial arts competition. Petro asks the Andean community to reintegrate Chile and Venezuela. The IMF approves an $18.5 billion credit line for Chile for 2 years. The President of Chile ratifies an ILO convention against violence and harassment at work. Chilean justice condemns ex-guerrilla who assassinated a Pinochet senator. Chile delivers a note of protest to Brazil over Bolsonaro's accusation against Boric. Paraguay's president vetoes the bill regulation cryptocurrency mining. Bolivia exports 434 tons of lithium carbonate in 6 months to Russia, China, and the USA. Bolivia consolidates its position as well the leader in the export of Amazonian Brazil nuts. Protest movements in Haiti leave 1 dead and several injured. USA. Senator Lindsey Graham warns of riots in the streets if Trump is impeached. The US experiences a day of shootings with several dead in the states of Oregon and Michigan. The Pentagon fears that aid to Ukraine will affect the US ammunition stockpile. China. China forgives the debts of 17 African nations. China Mutual Fund values Evergrande shares at almost nothing. Unfinished buildings in China put billions of Chinese bank loans at risk. 50 million empty flats, a ticking time bomb in China's property market. Evergrande investigated for failing to disclose $2 trillion loan scheme. China announces that its bombers will conduct regular patrols around Taiwan. Iraq. Iraq declares a nationwide curfew after intense protests. Chaos in Baghdad after al-Sadr resigns, unable to form a government. At least 15 dead and dozens injured during riots in Iraq. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.